welcome to the channel. I'm Divya Biano. I work as a software developer in Glance. I have been associated with Newton School from the past few months as a mentor. Newton School is a platform which prepares you for a career in tech. It has courses designed for students, working professionals, and also with women with no tech background. Newton School first trains you for a full 6 months and helps you in becoming amazing full stack developers. It has a network of more than 300 companies. So once the training is complete, Newton School also ensures that you get placed in some of the best companies in the country. And the best part about this program is that this is a pay after placement program, which means that you don't have to pay Newton School until and unless you get placed in a company with a minimum of 5 lakh C2C. Launchpad is another such initiative taken by Newton School. It is for people who want to learn coding from scratch and also learn the basics of different programming languages for absolutely free of cost. This video is also available in the Launchpad section of Newton School, where you can practice different assignments and quizzes related to the course. Please do check out the Launchpad section. I will share the link with you in the description box. Now let's get started with the lesson. In today's video, we are going to solve a problem known as subarray with a given sum. The question goes like this. Given an integer array ARR, that is array that contains only non-negative integers, find a contiguous subarray which adds to a number s. If such a contiguous subarray exists, return true, else return false. So now let's see, we have an example. Let's go ahead with that example. So according to the example, we have an input which are two things, which is one, array of integers, and second, the number s, which represents the sum of the contiguous array that we need to find. And our output should be a boolean, true or false, based on whether we are able to find a subarray such that the sum is s or not. So the first approach that is coming to my mind is take all the subarrays, keep the sum of it, and then based on the sum, check if the sum is equal to s or not. If the sum is, return true, else return false. So for that, what are we going to do is, for I 1 to n, and then we are going to make a subarray which is for j I to n. So that means through these two loops, we will be able to iterate through all the possible combinations of subarray. Now we will take another loop from I to j and just have a sum. Just take the sum of all the elements in between the index I and j, both inclusive. Then after the loop, the final sum we'll check. If this is equals to s, we'll return true, else we'll keep on going, and at the end of the whole loop, all the three loops, if after we have iterated through all the i's and j's combination possible, if we are not able to if till now the function has not returned true, that means there was no possible contiguous subarray whose sum was s, so we will return false. So now the time complexity for this particular approach is, so we have 3 loops which all can run for order of n, so it will be order of n cube. Now immediately after seeing the above approach, I feel like we can do the sum of the array in the second loop in itself, thereby removing the necessity of introducing a third loop, and by that reducing our time complexity. Now how I feel that is done is, I have explained this in one of my previous videos as well, the link to which will be somewhere on the screen, but I will explain it again. So by using this particular I and j variable, what we are doing is we are having all the possible subarrays. So now what we are doing while we are going from j, ji to n is, when j is say I, we'll do when I is 1 and j is I, so that means j is 1. So at that point our sum is array of 1, right, based on our k I to j. Then when our sum is, j becomes I plus 1, that is 2, because it is going from I to n. So it will be array 1 plus array 2. Now when j becomes 3, our sum will be array 1 plus array 2 plus array 3. So in all this, what I see, the common logic is that every time the current element, the current jth index element is getting appended to the previous sum, to the sum which we calculated previously. So what we can do is we can create a sum variable here, and every time when we enter into the j wala loop, what we can do is we can add sum में the jth previous sum में we can add the current element, and then we can check the same. If sum is equals to s, we return true, and if after iterating all the possible combinations, if still the code has not returned true, that means there is no possible subarray, contiguous subarray whose sum can be s, so we'll return false. Now if you see this particular combination, this particular code which I am adding, which is through which we are able to remove the third particular loop. So in the beginning when we go I1, so sum will become 0. So now when j is actually I, which is 1, our sum is currently 0, and in which we are adding array of 1. So our sum is exactly what we wanted. Then we check if sum equals to s. If it is, we'll return true. If not, we'll go back again to the same loop with our now j value equals to I plus 1, that is 2. So now current their sum is array of 1 because of the previous addition, previous loop's sum. And we will add the current jth index value, that is array of 2, and then we will check this. So through this we are actually able to iterate through all the subarrays, as well as keep on adding the value to the sum, and keep on keeping a track of the sum without having the need to add another loop. So through this we are actually able to do our particular code in order of n square time complexity. So we have reduced our time complexity from cubic to square. Now for another approach that comes to my mind is while taking approach from very famous algorithm known as Cadaine's algorithm. So Cadaine's algorithm is basically for another problem which is very famous, which is known as maximum subarray. So what Cadaine's algorithm basically does for solving that particular problem is that while iterating through a particular like an array, while it goes forward, it also takes certain check while going forward to eliminate the previous entries. So in that way, though it does not check for all the possible subarrays, but what it does check for is all the possible optimal subarrays. So we are also going to do something on a similar pathway. So so for that, what we are going to do is we are going to take a start index, okay, which will be 0, and we are going to have a sum because we need sum, which will also be 0 at this point. Now what we are going to do with these two is, I'll explain. So given our array is 1, 2, 3, 7, 5, and our s is 12. So firstly I'm going to write a for loop in which what we are going to do is we are going to keep on adding the elements in this sum. Okay, so this we need to keep on adding elements to the sum to include that particular element in our subarray. Now and our final check is this, that if sum is equals to s, we are going to return true. Okay, so there can be multiple subset subarrays whose sum becomes 12. Our question particularly just tells us that if such contiguous array exists, we just need to return true. So we don't need to go through all the subarrays. If we come across a subarray whose sum is s, we'll just return true. Okay, now What this particular through our approach, what we are trying to do is that, see, if suppose we are adding all the elements, like suppose if we added these particular four elements, 1 2 3 and 7, so our sum will become 30. 7 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Okay, and our s is 12. So that means, because of the condition that is given to us that our array contains only non-negative integers, so if we go ahead, now with this particular sum, there is never a possibility that we will ever come across a certain subarray whose sum is equal to s, because our sum is already greater than s. So our sum is already greater than x, and we know any element now that is going to come is either going to be greater than equal to 0. So anything that is greater than equals to 0, if that gets added in sum, and our sum is already greater than s, so sum plus x will also be greater than s. So there is no chance, if we do not remove just the certain elements from this sum, that we will ever reach a particular possibility where our sum will become equal to s. So what we are going to do is, we are going to check if our sum is greater than s. If this happens, what we are going to do is, we are going to start removing the array ka value from the sum from the start. Okay, what does that mean is, so we kept a start, right? We kept an index of start st equals to 0. Our st is less than equals to I, and our sum is greater than s. So there might be a possibility, say instead of 7, say suppose 100 would have come. So now even if you reduce 1, 2, 3, anything, the sum will be greater than s. So it's not just okay if we remove only the start index. We have to keep a loop, and we need to keep on removing the sum, keep on removing the start index unless our sum becomes less than s, or we reach till the point where we have removed all the elements and our sum has become 0. Okay. So while that means our st has reached till the position I. Okay, actually it has reached till the position I plus 1, because even when it is I, we still have that last index that we have just added. We will even remove that. Say suppose it came out to be 100 and our s was 12. So in no possibility, if we have an subarray with a number 100, will we ever be able to generate a sum of 12. So we need to also remove that. So we will also keep a check on the current element as well. So what we are going to do here is, from sum we are going to remove, we're going to minus the array of start. Okay, and we are going to increase our starts index. That means now we are not, so in this particular case, like 1 2 3 7, we are going to remove 1, so our start will become 2. So now that means our subarray currently consists of this element. So now our sum is 12. Suppose this is what our answer is. If suppose this was not our answer and it was 10, so in that case, since 12 current the sum is greater than s was 10 in that particular case, so we would also remove this 2 and keep the s, increase the start here. So we will keep on doing till either of these two conditions hold, that either we have removed all the elements, and now when will that condition occur is, so when we remove all the elements, our sum will be 0. So why do we have to keep this check that st less than equals to I? Because in this particular question, it is nowhere given that the number s that is provided to us is a non-negative number. If it is negative, then we can add or reduce any such elements. Our sum will never be equal to s, because s is negative and our all elements are non-negative. So for that, either we can check it on the top, that if s is negative, if s is less than 0, we just return false, because we know our particular elements can never generate a negative number because they're non-negative. Or we can also keep a check here as well. So we can do both the things, or we can do one of the things. Everything will work. It just depends on how you want to write the code. So now after we have done this, and suppose if our sum had come to a stage, it can come to two scenarios after this while loop. It can either be equals to s or less than s. Hence we are putting this check sum equals to s after this particular while loop, because there can be a scenario like there was in this particular example. We removed 1 and now our sum has become equals to 12. Now, if we would have put this condition of sum equals to s on top of this, the other if condition, which was sum greater than s, then for the next loop, our sum would have actually been 12 plus 5 because it would have added 5. So, there is also another way to write this code, which would have been, we check at the very start. But if we do this at the very start, then it can happen. Like if the sum was supposed to be 17, then after 5 was added, we never checked it, right? So we would have to implement that check after the array as well. So a lot of permutation combinations for logics can be applied, but the main approach, that is through multiple checks, we can actually just find the optimized subarray which can give this sum, and based on that we can reduce and remove the values. So this is the approach to do this question linearly. This question has been asked in various companies interview like Amazon, Facebook, Visa, Google. Now let's start the coding of this question. What we need is here a start index, as we mentioned, which will be 0, which will keep a track of if any time if we come across a scenario wherein our sum is greater than s, then by keeping a track of the start index we can actually remove those values and keep on increasing our start and keep on getting our subarray. Then we have a sum, which will be the sum of the subarray that we are currently calculating, and it will start from 0. Now we will go for iterate through the loop through the array, which in this particular case is array.length. Now the first thing that we are doing is we are just going to add this particular element in our sum, okay, because we are now including this element in our possibility of creating a subarray. Now if our sum is, there can be 3 conditions here. Our sum can be less than s. In that case we just need to keep on iterating through the loop and keep on adding more values in the hope of getting the sum equals to s. The second scenario is when our sum is greater than s. In that particular scenario, we need to start removing elements from the start index, which is st, because if we keep those elements, then we have actually seen all the possible subarrays. So either all the possibilities of having these subarray with that particular start index. So in that particular case, before this particular I, every other subarray had sum less than s, and after the addition of this particular I, the subarray is greater than s. So now all the ahead subarrays, if we keep this as a start index, that means if we keep this as the start of the subarray, all of them will also have sum greater than s. So that means there is no point in traversing through all those subarrays with this being the start index, because we know our sum is going to be greater than s. So that is why we are going to remove all such start index elements whose inclusion in this particular current scenario whose sum is greater than s. So we are going to keep a check st less than equals to I. As I mentioned, this is for the case wherein our s is less than 0. We can also keep this check on top, but I'm just keeping it here. The more ideal approach would be we just keep it on top and just return false there and then itself. So now also we need to keep a check that this loop should only remove the index and should only remove the first start index element from the sum only till the time our sum is actually greater than s. Okay, and after this loop we are just going to check if our sum is equals to s, then that means the problem statement told us that if we ever come across any contiguous subarray whose sum is equals to s, then we can return true. So we are going to do that. Now after traversing the whole array, if we do not come across a scenario where our sum equals to s, that means there was no contiguous subarray. So we are going to just return false here. Now our code is complete. Let's run out some test cases. So our first test case is the example that we were given, which was 5 elements containing array 1, 2, 3, 7, 5 and sum to be 12. Let's run and see what input does it give. So it gives us 12. because we know that this particular array has a sub-array which is 2, 3 and 7, whose sum gives us 12. Now let's see if this also holds true for 14, which we know is not the case. In this particular array there is no sub-array which can give us the sum 14. So now you see the answer has been false. Now let's see if our sum was -1. So we have put a check there, right? Let's see if our code is able to withstand that, and it gives us the answer as false. Now suppose if we wanted 12 plus 3, that is 15, that is the last three elements, 3, 7 plus 5. Let's see if our code is able to take us remove 1 and 2, and yes, it is able to. So this is how this code works. I hope you like the approach and the explanation of this particular problem. Please do try this code yourself by visiting the Launchpad and doing the code and practice questions there. Thank you.